What is up, everybody? I am RenaMarq, your modern Renaissance content creator, and welcome to the second episode of season 2 of Per-Sception. Of course, this is the Creator Spotlight series, and today I have an amazing, lovely, talented content creator, streamer, variety and personality streamer, makeup guru, fashion guru, and Apex tournament curator and Apex legend.
Oh my goodness.
We make up Steam. What is up?
Hello. How are you doing? That was a fantastic intro.
Hey, I be trying.
I mean, hello everybody. How are you doing? My name is We Make Up Steam, but you can just call me Makeup. Yeah. I am, as Mark said, a beauty, fashion, and gaming variety content creator, but I focus on games like Apex Legends for almost 2 years. The second year anniversary is coming up soon. I'm just like, I cannot believe it. But yeah, I am so excited to be here. Thank you again for inviting me for this opportunity. I'm excited. We're gonna talk about a lot of cool things.
Thank you. Hell yeah, we're definitely gonna get to some topics. Usually with these things, like I said, there's no pre-made questions, so there can be light questions, dark questions, whatever you don't feel like answering. Just say it. We good. It's all right. So first question is, what made you want to bring kind of beauty and fashion into the gaming space?
Oh, this is perfect. This is so good. So I remember, for me personally, for like the longest time, especially in like middle to high school years, right, I had a love for watching people in gaming, like on YouTube primarily. I didn't really know what Twitch was at the time. I didn't know until I got into college, but I was watching people like the Rad Brad. I still do. He's like my favorite like story.
Rad Brad is so good.
Yeah. It's his story stuff, like walkthrough person, and I've watched Uncaged Games for all like the Mortal Kombat stuff, and like a few other people, and also like greats like Markiplier and yeah, right. And so I had that side, but I also had the other side, which was all the beauty and fashion things like that. So people like Jackie Aina, Sandra Deluxe, Ellery, like those were the greats for me, right. And I knew that I couldn't be the only person on the planet who liked those two big things.
Right.
And so when I graduated from high school and I was going into college, I was like, well, I want to be able to express my love for these two things, but I'm not quite sure how. Right. And, maybe, social media is a thing. And a part of me always wanted to be a little bit of a content creator from some standpoint, be it in beauty or gaming. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and go ahead and do it. So I created my makeup page on Instagram in October of my freshman year. And it was really tough time for me at that point, because it's like, you're a wee little freshman in college, you don't know what you're doing, everything is out of whack, you're trying to figure out your relationships with people, you're trying to learn how to grow as an adult. Like, it was, oh my gosh, it was a hot mess. But I was like, you know what? I had one mentor in college at the time, and she told me, she was like, you said you want to do these things, and fall break is coming up soon. By the time you come back from fall break, I want you to tell me that you made your page. And I was like, what? Okay. So I mean, yes, hey, ma'am. I want to upset the professor. So I came back and I was like, I created my page, and she was like, all right, now here's what we're going to do. And she like coached me through the process, even though she might not have known anything about like starting social media or anything like that. But she was still invested in my creativity and my drive and my passion. I appreciate that. So that, and a couple of nudgings from some other people in my circle at the time, just encouraging me to take pictures, and I was doing other people's faces in like the dorms and stuff like that. And then it kind of blew up from there. But I just I'm very happy that I
Yeah.
have the opportunity to do that on Instagram.
Right.
And then all in that same year, when it came to the summertime, freshman year is over. It's like, all right, your first summer in college, what are you gonna do? Get a job. So I went through like an interesting internship program job. I don't know what I could really call it at the time, but I went through a program at my college, and they hired me for social media and like outreach and things like that.
Okay.
So I was working on that, but at the same time, I knew that I wanted to, maybe start into this little gaming business, right?
Yeah.
So I had my wee little iPhone and like a phone stand that my dad and I went out to Best Buy or like Walmart to get. And the first game that I ever streamed was Mortal Kombat 11.
There it is.
And or was that Mortal Kombat MKX? One of them, one of the newer ones. All right. And so I'm pretty sure it was MKX. And so I had it, and I sat my phone down. I was like scared out of my mind. I still have like the archive story of it.
Yes.
And on Instagram, it's like, I'm trying to stream for the first time. Please come comfort me. Like, I just sat there and I was playing, and I was like, I wasn't doing well because I'm not even the best at fighting games by a long shot, but I had fun. I kept it going, and I went from Mortal Kombat to Final Fantasy 12, which is like my ride or die game since I was like maybe 10. And we went through from there. My roommate at the time, we met each other earlier in freshman year, but only in passing, and it was randomized. So when I walked in and I saw her, I was like, you. And then I like looked to the side and I was like, oh, you have a gaming piece? She was like, yeah. And so we made that connection from there. And I didn't have my PC at the time, but the program that I was going through, it gave me $4,000. So I was like, all right, half is going to go towards my savings and the other half is going to go towards getting a PC. And sadly, that program did not end in my favor. I did get released from the job, but I kept the money though.
Okay, so we good.
Right. And I learned a lot in terms of growing, because that really was like my first job and my first opportunity to work with other people in industry. And as a Black woman, it's just like a lot of things were definitely hyper emphasized, not in the most positive light. And so being released was honestly the best thing for me, because A, I got my PC. And B, I got like experience that I can carry with me onto other jobs now. So but yeah, that's a long-winded story about like
nothing is long-winded here. Nothing is long-winded here. I will let you get it off. With that, so to piggyback on a couple of those points that you said, in trying to recognize these different creative paths, not keeping them separate. In turn, where did you start to feel at some point, oh, like I can showcase that these two spaces can not only live together, but content-wise, they can integrate together?
I think the first time that I thought about that in practice would be probably about like going into year 2 of my Instagram journey. Like I had like my first year and I was doing a lot of other people's makeups, and I was doing like, I was the makeup artist, I was like the hairstylist, I was all of them, the photographer, I was setting up the photo shoots, I had to bring people from my dorm and stuff like that. And I was like, put your hand right here, put your hand right there. And I was like taking pictures and stuff like that. I was editing it and posting it. And then I was doing that for a lot of like clubs and stuff that I wanted to go for. And there was like a club on my campus that has a magazine that's in it's like in light of like Vogue, and so like in reflection of it. So I did that, but in terms of like connecting the gaming part to it, I was just looking at other creators that I saw online, and I was like, oh my goodness, like this reminds me of something that I've played before, and I feel like I could try to connect that in the future. But it's a little bit difficult because for somebody like me, I'm into like either basic or dramatic makeup looks. I'm not so much of a person that's into body art and body painting. And I feel like that's definitely where you get the most like impact in terms of like
Right.
connecting gaming and beauty, right? Because
Right.
like when you think of like a Destiny character, they're not like, they don't look like average people.
Right. They're blue and purple.
Right. And so, and like characters from like your favorite games at the same time, it's like it's a blend of cosplay and like fashion and makeup. And I always thought that was really intriguing, but it's very hard. I feel like people don't talk enough about how hard it is to start out, because you, once you look at all the people who you admire so much, there's a lot of time, there's a lot of money, and there's a lot of work that goes into all of these things that you see. And it just gets like, it doesn't get talked about enough for me. And so I still wanted to be able to find a way to like merge the two together. And the best thing for me was just having like online makeup tutorials and get ready with me's on like Instagram or Twitch. And hopefully, crossing my fingers, in the next couple of months, I am going to be releasing a website and a whole like beauty talk show series where I can get the perspectives of other like beauty aficionados that I have looked up to on Instagram and YouTube, as well as like people in our community and gaming professionals. And like we do makeup together, we talk about life and stuff, and then I hope that they can like show me like one of their favorite games, like have a little tutorial so we can get both sides of it, you know?
That's actually dope. That's really dope. Like when you take so many different elements, because like you said, like for me, I know nothing about makeup. Absolutely nothing. And to me, like when I think of like quote unquote like makeup and gaming, I think of, I guess, the more dramatic side of the spectrum, cosplaying, real dramatic face painting or characters and et cetera. But I started to notice, just like being in this community on Twitch and, you know, part of the Black Twitch community and everything of that nature, like I've noticed that it's such a nice like blend of a line where you see women in gaming kind of advocate for like makeup, and I don't want to say like I could be the wrong word on this, but not like just advocating for beauty in general, right?
Where, because I mean, sorry, not to like to cut you off, because like, I mean, for like the longest time, whenever you think of it's like a really weird stereotype that people have when it comes to like women that are in games. Like they have a lot of like masculine energy, or it's like it's something that's supposed to be inherently negative, which no, it's not.
Okay.
You can have whatever type of like energy that you wish to have when it comes to being in the gaming industry. You do not have to fit one certain mold as to who or what a gamer is.
Right. No
that's number
standard.
one.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And then I mean the same thing is like in general with the STEM industry. It's really really weird. I'm not quite sure how it got to that, but it needs to change. So I mean, and a lot of people, and I think for the longest time, a lot of industries assumed the same perspective that like people who are gamers are not interested in makeup, which is false. And also like beauty doesn't even have to pertain to just women. It pertains to anybody and everybody. And that's another thing, is that like a lot of people forget that your TV correspondents, every time they sit in that chair and they're about to say coming at 8 p.m. They have makeup on, right? Like they have, it's like, oh, here's your touch up. And like beauty doesn't have to be, you know, runway fashion. It's supposed to give Pat McGrath and like fall winter 2018. It's not going to give the most dramatic things on the planet. And I think that's what really scares people on the gaming side of things, right? And then on the beauty side of things, people are like, well, I mean, you know, gamers don't wear makeup. And it's like,
and
you're both wrong. Come on.
Like and that's why I feel that is so important to talk to you, because I see you as championing that bridge right? Being like, hey, like you're kind of like the olive branch of the gaming world, the makeup world, because you
Cute.
are showing people you are showing people that like, hey, gamers like to be beautiful no matter what, right?
Exactly.
And
Yes.
people who like to be beautiful can play
Like to
games.
play games.
Like it's really
Boom.
that simple,
It is.
but it's so many, like you said, it's so many disconnected perceptions
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stumbles that bridge across.
Mm-hmm.
And also to your point as well, and to piggyback on something that you said, like
Mm-hmm.
makeup or beauty and gaming is not the only two things you advocate for. You also advocate for STEM. So
Yes.
where does that also align in, like, how does that complete your trifecta of content?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of tough because it sort of drifted away or like fell to the wayside as I got further into my college experience.
Right.
But I mean, my journey in STEM slash STEAM, it started when I was 10 or 11 years old. I have some families that are like engineers and stuff like that. So my
Hey.
dad came home from work. He was like, hey, I want to show you something on YouTube. I was like, cool. And little me is like watching a video of these like unmanned aerial vehicles, right? From like MIT, and they're doing these like hive swarm things. I was like, whoa. I was like, I want to do that when I get older. And my parents were like, okay.
Your dad
So
was
they
like,
find-
yes, it worked.
Yeah, no, really. Like later on, not even like a week later, they're like, hey, they looked up some programs for minorities in STEM. They're like, all right, let's sign you up for these programs and let's see where it goes from here. And then all throughout middle school, going into high school, I did a lot of summer programs. I learned how to code. My first camp was in like game design. I won like third place. It was so much fun.
Okay.
And I think like another camp after that, I won first for like some design thing. But it was so much fun, and I enjoyed it, and it just like exposed me to the fact that you can create anything that you want. And that's so cool. It boggles my mind. Whether it's a bunch of ones and zeros that you want to type out all the time, or if it's going to be like a bunch of semicolons and parentheses, or like even if you're gonna go ahead and be like, all right, I have these set of parts, what am I gonna make from here? Going into high school, I ended up joining my high school robotics team. And yeah, it was, oh gosh, it was a lot of fun. It was real stressful, but it was great. And the funny thing is that I was also getting into beauty at the same time. So whenever we went to like robotics competitions, right, I had my little purse. During the open ceremonies, I would like take out my eyeliner, take out my brow pencil, and my friends would take a picture of me like, look at her. What is she doing? Trying to look cute. Hold on, wait a minute. Nobody's gonna take pictures of me and have me looking crusty. That's not how we're gonna do this today.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Talk to him.
I mean, I did that. And even in robotics, I initially got into the team so I could do all the coding and stuff. But then I realized along the way, like, there are people on the team who are not only way better, but way faster at coding than I am. And because we're working under a tight schedule, I'm like, all right, I still want to be a part of this team, but where do you want me to be? And I end up taking over what we call the engineering notebook. And it was basically like all of the logs from the start of the season to the end, and all the pictures that people needed to take or they needed, all of like the test sketches, everything.
Oh shit.
And so I was able to help my team get to like states with my notebook and stuff. I was creating a lot of events for the school and like connecting with other schools in the area. And my coach, shout outs to him. I hope he's doing well. But he and a couple other people, they nominated me for an award my junior year. And so it was a lot bigger of an award than I initially thought. And it was called the Dean's List. And so I had an interview and all this other fun stuff. And they invited me as like a finalist. And then I like flew out to like the world championships. And I ended up winning the award. I was like, it was the first thing
Hey.
in my life that was that big that I'd ever won. I was like, I'm sorry. I was sitting here, my mom was like in the other chair, we were like eating, and they're like saying names and stuff like that. And I was like in the first set of names, I said, oh, so this is
like, this is it.
And so, I mean, that was probably one of the best moments in my life, because it was one of those times where the path that you think that you're going on is not always the one that you'll be led to, and B, in whichever way that you feel like you can make an impact, do it, because nothing should ever stop you from participating in something that you love and appreciate dearly, right?
That's a fact.
And later on that year, me and my friend were co-captains, and we made it to states. I think we made it to like the semifinals, and it was one of the best experiences ever. But when I went to college, I had the general mindset that I was going to graduate as an engineer, but that didn't really happen. Funny, because when I talked to other like lower classmen about like my journey through college, they're like, dang, you had a lot of interest. I was like, yeah, and that's what happens when you're in college. Like, you kind of walk in doing one thing, but there's a very, very small percentage of people that actually graduate with the same one thing that they entered in with, right?
That's like, you ain't lying. You are not lying.
I was like, you know what? Engineering sounds cool. And then I was like, astronomy sounds nice. Wait, there's only one class in astronomy on this entire campus? Never mind. And so I went from there to like trying to get into computer science. The classes were they got full so quickly. And as a freshman, I couldn't get in. And so I was like, all right, fine, data science. Took a data science class. Then I was like, I'm going to be a data science major. In between, I also wanted to be a film major, but whatever.
Hey.
and then eventually last year, I was like, you know what? Like, data science is cool and all, and I still want to be able to utilize it as a part of my degree because I'm already this far into it.
Right.
But I want to be able to at least look into a way that I can integrate like either gaming or like beauty into my passion, because at the time I really wanted to end up like creating my own business,
right?
And like not in the sense of like online content creation, like a physical like brick and mortar, like re-innovating how we see and use beauty in terms of what it is as a convenience versus an experience,
right?
And I wanted to do that, and I was like, all right, business school, cool. Yeah. So I applied, I got in, I had my first semester last semester, and I am going to be majoring in business analytics with a concentration in innovation and entrepreneurship and a minor in data science. So
talk that motherfucking talk. I like that. I like that.
So yeah.
I like that. That's what I'm
Senior
talking
year
about.
Starts in 2 weeks. I'm a little nervous, but yeah.
You got this. Like,
thank you.
I resonate with that, the story you told about your journey so much, because oh man,
it's hard.
It's hard. Like, I started school to be for philosophy. That was going to be my major. Couple of years later, I went into, I got a degree in IT networking, and then went into UX design, which was my most recent. And then like, because I want to be like a UX research analyst, which I am now, thankfully. And then but like even in between that, I went I did a film and TV industry, audio and video production. So like, when you talk about switching interest, it's like playing with buttons. It's like, what does this button do? And he's like, oh, okay. Like, it's absolutely crazy. Now, to get into more of your, like, a little bit harder stuff, but more into the mind state of being, state of feeling, right? As being a part of two marginalized groups, women, Black, and having passions in, I would say, probably 4 things at this point. You got business, you have STEM or engineering side, you
Mm-hmm.
have beauty, and then you also have gaming, which in those four different kind of communities, if you
Mm-hmm.
will, they like to shun out
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
both sides, like both sides of you as a woman and as being
Yeah.
black. How do you not only overcome the communities that you're building into, but how do you also recognize that within yourself and try to make an impact not only within you but outward?
And I'm very thankful for my parents specifically for instilling in me as a young like black girl that I may be different in this world,
Mhm.
but those differences they should not be known as something to hinder me from greatness.
Well
And
done.
I had a couple of tough times, like the time that I was talking about when I had like my first job.
Right.
That was hard. That was one of the hardest times in my life in terms of just trying to work so hard and end up working so hard and just seeing it get thrown back in your face in a way that you wouldn't expect before.
Yeah.
And it hurt
Right.
because this wouldn't happen to anybody else on the team. Like a lot of times, like my the things I was doing, like my credit was taken away from, or I'd have a lot of things that were just like cut out from me, and like I wouldn't hear about it until after the fact. I'm like, oh well, why didn't you do this? I'm like, you all didn't tell me. I don't understand. Like
Wow.
it's like watching discrimination happen to you in action is it is mind
Yeah.
boggling
Yeah.
and it is overwhelming because you sadly hear about these things as like a black individual all the time,
Right.
and especially as like a woman all the time, and it's like like how do people why how do people think that this is an okay way to act?
Right.
Like I get it in terms of like things like STEM and even gaming. It can seem like a competition, right? Like
Right.
especially in the industry of esports, it's very very competitive
Yes.
in its nature. It's like ingrained, but in no way shape or form should you ever have to feel like you need to put somebody down in order to elevate yourself. You
That's a
should be doing
fact.
that on your own.
That's a fact. That's
So
a fact.
I'm very thankful that my parents sort of told me that like as a young girl, like, hey, like first of all, like you're special, you're amazing, and like giving me those affirmations as I grew up through the tough times like middle school and high school and all of that. And like going into college, I really do appreciate the fact that my parents told me like you're black is beautiful,
Right.
and being a woman should not stop you from achieving your dreams.
That is.
So I am very appreciative of that.
Hell yeah. I definitely agree. Having that instilled, sorry, having that instilled early
Mm-hmm.
is probably one of the most important things you could do, because that kind of like unlocks a door like within like yourself, and that opens up thoughts of how to impact, thoughts of how to outreach,
Absolutely.
thoughts of how to create. Like it
Mm-hmm.
really opens up so many worlds having that type of mental instilled
Mm-hmm.
very very early, like just being strong within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And to piggyback on that, um with times as of like now, right?
Yeah.
And with being part of the Twitch community, and especially with everything going on,
Mm-hmm.
how do you, not only that, but I'm not, because you I want to actually touch on some of your other interests. So
Yeah.
keep in mind the Twitch part, but also like makeup, for instance. Like there's not that many makeup companies that cater
Yeah.
to black women. Like I see it
Mm-hmm.
all the time where like people can't find certain shades, or
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't align with that. And how do you, going forward, how do you feel like you want to be kind of like an impact of that?
One of the things that I set for myself in my freshman year, a lot of things happened in freshman year. But one of the things that I actually set up, because I entered into college with basically a full ride and a scholarship, and with
Nice.
that, I
Well
also
done.
had
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Hold on.
And, like, with that, I had like some research that I was able to do, and like the setup and stuff like that.
Right.
And towards the end of my first year, I had my research set up so that I could look at how a lot of business companies, like makeup companies, were delivering and determining which shades of product to send out to certain stores in the area. Like, how do they base it off of like a demographic, or is it just a location? Like, what is it? And so I think I called it the Complexion Project or something like that, something along those lines. And I spent most of my winter break and a lot of my spring semester looking into certain places around my area and around like my school area, and literally just like talking to the managers like, hi, I just wanted to see like your complexion section, like, can I take a picture of this, and do you have any like that's in stock that you don't put out, this, that, and the third. And I was collecting all of this data because I was like, there's obviously an issue with the fact that I can't find my shade like where I live, or like I can't find my shade like where I go to school. Like, I shouldn't have to travel an hour and some change to go find a beauty product. Like, that shouldn't have to happen.
Nah.
Or I shouldn't go to the store and then all of a sudden see, yeah, this shade's only available online. It's like, well, why is that? You know?
Yeah.
Because even with that, that's an accessibility issue, because for a lot of times in places like Sephora and Ulta, you have the chance to try some shades on in store if they have that product available, so that, you know, you don't walk out the store having wasted your money.
True.
and purchase like the wrong product. So I looked into that my freshman year. I didn't think I ever like closed out the project, but I was pretty much like halfway done with it. And I have this whole like geo map or whatever put together. It's like breakdown in terms of like cost. Would you consider it like a drugstore brand or a luxury brand or something in between? Because that's a really big factor. One of the things that I saw early on was the fact that the more expensive that the brands were, was the more shades that they had. Because I mean, they just had enough money to create a wider range of shades. And it's really wild, because that was like 3 years ago. But I'm so happy that the beauty community has transformed within those 3 years to the point where like a lot of drugstore places are now offering darker shades in the drugstore. Like, you go to like CVS or something, right? Some people, they don't have an Ulta nearby, or they don't have a Sephora nearby. And so they can just look to their right and be like, oh my God, look at that. Like, I can buy that. And it's like a cause for experimentation, and leaving us. And like, I'm definitely not like the darkest person on the planet either. Like, I would consider myself like, like I know there are people that are like way darker than me, and especially in like the beauty community, absolute giants like Nima Tang, who has like a now like a brand like partnership with, I'm pretty sure, like CVS right now. And they have her as an ambassador because of how much she's been so outspoken in the beauty industry with, when it comes to like foundations, concealers, bronzers, and things of that nature. Like, hey, if it doesn't fit me, expand it, because I'm not the only one on the planet that looks like this. And you're for the longest time, they're making the excuse of like, well, I mean, we don't see that many people like buying our products. Like, why do you think that is? Because we can't. Like, you can't say that like we're not the audience that you think that we are, simply because we're not buying your stuff, because you're right. We can't. We literally cannot buy your stuff. We would like to, but you guys are like simply ignoring us and people like us. So yeah, it's a lot that has happened over the past couple of years, but I am so happy to say that people in the community are a lot more present and calling out when, or like bringing attention to when brands will release things that are like, test this out on somebody yet, like a darker complexion. Like if you give us a swatch right here, will it look ashy is the question at hand.
That's a fact. That's that's a fact.
Like, will I be looking ghostly like I was in the 80s? Like, hello? Like, we're not, come on, it is 2020. Get it together. So and they're like, oh, either like we're expanding new shades soon, or like we'll take this into account. Like, yeah, you better.
Yeah,
should have happened at the jump, but it's fine.
That's
so.
That's a wonderful point. And when you talk about it's in your face, right? Like on every level. And one of the reasons why I view like women in gaming at such a high level is because they are the ones really like forefront, hunker down. And the best thing about that is, to your point, like you doing the tournament, right? Like that being there, like right off the bat, like if people watch the tournament, they can see a black woman beauty guru in gaming, like all at once, like in esports all at once. So like I'll talk about like your feeling on that, because even if it's not a intended impact, like it's an impact. Like anybody who watched that tournament or any tournaments that you plan in the future, like the more and more it grows in you commentating and being in esports, gaming, beauty, and good causes all at that same time, like that's such an impact for a 10-year-old at that time. Like,
yes.
So talk about like that type of intentional impact and like unintentional impact.
I have conversations with like a lot of our mutuals about this all the time.
Right.
When it comes to content creation, some people would like to get into it for like the popularity. Some people like to find a different avenue of branding themselves and like making money, right, and things like that. And those aren't bad things to do. Right. But if those are the only things that you wish to do, I beg people to see from a different perspective, like I created this page, like this brand as like We Makeup Steam and like being makeup, because I wanted to create an impact on my community that was positive.
Right.
And I wanted to encourage like the little girls that look like me, or like the little individuals, or even just like individuals in general who are around my age, older, younger, doesn't even matter, to know that you're not alone. Come on. Whole community of us out there that like to put some makeup on, that like to play some games, that like to have some fun, that like to be, a little bit competitive sometimes. And all that good stuff, right?
A little bit competitive, she says.
And so like when I first started playing Apex, it was November. I had finally gotten my PC like together, and I finally found some time to really stream, I guess. Right. And so I had just gotten back from like getting some Five Guys or something like that, and I was like, you know what? It was like Five Guys. So I got something, and so I sat down and I was like, you know what? I downloaded this game. And I'm wondering where this is going, and I'm like really nervous because I've played games before, but like not so much PC games. Right. I'm a console girl at heart, and games like Apex and things like that are just like a very foreign to me. And so I was like, you know what? Like, I'm really nervous because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might let the team down. Y'all are like queuing me up with people that are like level 80 and I'm level 10. What is going on? I don't know what I'm gonna do. And some clips from when I first started playing Apex, and I was watching the other day. I was like, oh my god, hip fire is out the wazoo.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness gracious, bullets going everywhere but the target. And I'm like, to win? How? So, but it's like things like those, and I was determined to get better. And it was obviously like right towards the end of my fall semester. And so when I got home, I streamed Apex often, and I was playing it, I was grinding. I was like, I remember when I got like a clip of me recording like my damage and stuff like that. And I got like 400 damage at the highest. I was like, I was so happy. I was pumping that music, and I was just like, I was living my greatest life, right? I'm getting to the point where like 400 damage is like pretty regular for me. Now I'm trying to hit that 2K. Now I'm trying to hit that 4K 20 badge. You know? Okay. And I knew in that same vein, like, again, I'm not the only person out there that likes games like Apex, you know?
Right.
And when I watched tournament programs like GLL and ALGS, I was like, like, I wonder if there are many Black individuals that are in like the esports part of like esports side of Apex, right?
Right.
And so, I mean, from what I saw, it wasn't like enough for me, right? And so, about a year later, like last summer, I was like, all right, I really want to get into this competitive thing, but I'm not too sure how. I guess I'm just going to keep grinding. And then I saw that for like ALGS, like the baseline reg you had to be was gold. I was like, cool, I'm going to grind gold and then we're going to get it. Okay. I kind of forgot what I was doing for a second, but you know, I was grinding the game. I got to silver and I was like, okay, I'm good now. And I chilled for like the rest of the season. Then I grinded to gold, and then wintertime came around. I was like, all right, before the end of the year, I want to see if I can compete in a tournament. It doesn't have to be anything ginormous like ALGS, but I want to be able to compete in a tournament and, you know, just say that I did it.
Right.
And because it doesn't hurt to try things, right?
That's a fact.
You know, the December came around. December's almost ended. I was looking at that calendar like, oh, so the year ends in like 2 weeks. Kind of forgot about that. Still haven't made my goal, I see. And in that same moment, I was like, why do I have to wait around for me to submit myself for a tournament? Why don't I just make one? Why I thought about that, but I did. So me and a couple of my mods, shout out to Miss Lena Lioness and to Miss Jacinda, Miss Jacinda Hex. They were really, they're like, okay. they helped me along, and they were like so pinnacle in helping me put together the tournaments, especially Jacinda. I am so thankful and so grateful for her. She's been by my side with this referee and like tournament business since December. And yeah, we've had many sleepless nights. We're like, oh god, what do we have to do? And we're like just talking it out, vibing, trying to make sure that everything is as good as we can get it to be.
Right.
And the first two tournaments that we had were kill races. And I knew that I had to start off simple, right? Because at the time when it came to tournaments, I thought, I'm pretty sure it still was that way at the time, where you had to build up some rapport in order to like submit a request for like respawn, be like, hey, like this is what I've done, this is who I am, hi, now I would like to see if I could get a nice little like private lobby request, huh? We can have our own lobbies, we can conduct a true BR match, you know? And so I had my first kill race in December. It was like 2 days before the end of the year. And we had oh gosh, I think it was like 12 or 13 teams. So it was like 45 people, and it was fantastic. It was so much fun. Cool. And we had a good time, and then I was like, all right, cool. Everybody liked it, so I guess we're gonna do it again. February came around again. It was my first semester in the business school. It was kind of hectic, but I wanted to do it again, and I did it again. And that one was a duos kill race specifically for Black women and femmes, and that was a lot of fun too. And then, as you were saying, the big kahuna.
Yep, here it is.
The one that I conducted basically like a week or two ago. What was it, like the 14th of August?
Yes.
That was the first ever charity tournament that I've ever done, like charity event, like BR tournament, like first ever, a lot of things that I'd ever done. And I kind of knew at the time when I was planning for it, like way back in June and July, that it was going to be my biggest event. And that kind of scared me because I'm like, I'm just a wee little one out here on the internet. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, Respawn's gonna like respond to my email. They're just gonna be like, that's wild. Anyways, you know, like, no, if I was gonna get any sort of response or like anything like that, if I was gonna be able to find people, but I like curated this long list and I sent out some emails to people, and I sent out an email to Respawn, and we had a little bit of a conversation. They were like, yeah, no, we're down with it. Let's just like give you the codes and stuff later. Sent out the codes, not the codes. I sent out the emails as fast as I could to people, but at the time when it happened, there wasn't enough time for us to put things together the way that I wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. And I also had some family things come up at the same time, so I had to postpone it. And it wasn't a good time for anybody, right? Really. And like I got a lot of like no responses from emails or like, no, I can't make it. I got this, that, and the third. It was so stressful. Oh my God. It was so stressful because like I knew what I wanted this event to be, but it wasn't looking like the coin was flipping in my favor. So it was tough. It was really tough in July, but I was just like, my parents were just like, you know, take a break, come back, recuperate, and then, you know, we'll figure it out. August comes along and I get responses from other people. I'm like, hey, if you can't participate or if you couldn't participate like last week, when can you do it? Gave people options. And then I got all the responses that I got enough responses to make a decision. Emailed Respawn. I was like, all right, new date. What's popping? And they're like, yeah, I mean, sure. So they let me know. And like the next day I sent emails out to like twice as many people. I was like, hello, hi. My name is Makeup Steam. Guess what I'm going to be doing? We're going to hold a tournament. Yeah. And then in like the same vein, right? Like I was just as frustrated because I knew that I sent out emails to certain people, but you would be amazed how many people don't respond to their emails or just don't check them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like slowly getting responses from people, but at the same time, I was like, did these people ever like see my email? And I didn't want to be a bother, and I guess like shout out to social media, I guess. But yeah, talk to my mutuals and they're like, why don't you just like DM them on Twitter? I'm like, I feel like that's kind of odd. I think okay, but a lot of people answer their DMs or at least read them, and so I had to like basically send out invites for like the third time. And he's like, hi, how you doing? I'm Mika. Would you like to be a part of my tournament? And they're like, who are you?
Oh shit.
Right. It's either like that or they're like, yeah, I guess like tell me more about it. But from there it was great because with like the promo posts that I did on Twitter that pretty much blew up. I was like, oh. Like I could tell that people were looking and they're like waiting for this to happen. Yeah. Because I could like the impressions were real big. I was getting nervous. I was like, oh God, what's going on? But and people were eyeing it, and having the chance to have a full lobby of people, right? Like 60 people in this event for the Black community, right? And most if almost like all except for like a couple were pretty much like Black individuals, right? And like that's like the best part about it, right? That was huge. Because you like. Try to name any other opportunity on this space that's done something like that. Right. and like has
really
had the
can.
community come together for not only like an evening of friendly competition, but for charity.
Yep.
It's just it was so good. And also like shout outs to BYN B Brian
Yep.
on Twitter. He is a guest caster for ALGS, and I'm so glad that he responded to my DM. And he just casted for ALGS, like the biggest like tournament thing for Apex Legends.
Good shit.
And I was just like, hi. I saw you on the cast for more tournaments, right? Like I'm gonna host one soon. He's like, okay.
He's like, yeah,
And so like we talked, and I'm so glad that he was flexible with everything. And it was a fantastic caster. Seriously, I cannot
really
wait to see where he goes.
Both of y'all did really good.
Thank you. Really engaging everybody when it came to like the competitors or the audience and just like all of that, you know?
Right.
But when that happened, I felt my heart was so full at the end of it. And I got like messages from some people like, I'm so proud of you. I can't believe what you're doing. And this, that, and the third. Like I was rooting for you the whole time. Yep. And also just stuff. I'm just like, y'all go make me cry. Please, God.
And talk about you hit the goal too.
Yeah, we hit the goal of $1,000. I think we raised a total of like $1,225 for the National Black Women's Justice Institute, which goes towards funds for like rehabilitating Black women and non-binary individuals who are going through like the legal system and things of that nature. And like when I saw the goal online, well, originally I wanted this to be part of a Streamlabs Creators for BIPOC month that they held in July. But since it was August, you know, the initiative was pretty much done. but since I knew that charity was still on the list, I was like, why not still, like, I'm not going to not raise money for it. So I looked online on the like Streamlabs like charity website, and I was like, only $25 raised? Hold a minute. Hold on.
Yeah. Like
roll up the sleeves and let's get it in. So I mean, I'm so glad that we got the chance to do that. And even with some of the little like fun events we had in between, I like looking back at the Discord right now and like seeing that hopefully people made some new connections with people that they otherwise would not have ever interacted with before. You know? And like if being able to just like put people on teams and try to make it as like even as I possibly could and have them interact with each other in different ways, like having like a randomized lobby and having a little fashion show and this, that, and the third and stuff like that. Like and at the end of the day, having people be like, oh my God, like that was so fun. I found some like really pretty, like really funny people to hang around and like hopefully play games with. Maybe we'll run ranked one time for the one time or just have some fun in pubs. I'm like, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's all that I wanted at the end of the day. Just like strengthen the community, you know?
And that's perfect because that whole entire story is impact at its finest. Like you can't, that is something that showcases not only are we able to be in the space, we're able to command it.
Yes.
And that's important. Like, yeah, like being in the spaceship is cool, but being able to command the spaceship that's a whole different ball game. And you did that. Like you hit goal 60 Black creators. Like
just about, yeah.
That's insane. Like all playing Apex, all showing that they could, you know, you could do we could be in esports, we could be in competitive, we could be on Twitch, we could be in gaming, we could do things for a good cause. And you did the fashion show, which also incorporates the beauty side of things too. Like you hit in itself, every passion.
I mean, that in itself wasn't even my idea. It was funny because I was trying to look online. I was like, well, what could I do as like a little like a mixer thing? Like the mixer in itself was my idea because I was like, I don't want people to just like go into the tournament, fight each other, and just like leave.
Right. That's
a lot of tournaments are conducted because 9 times out of 10, a lot of the people know from each other prior to, you know?
Right.
And so like they play with each other often and they're at such a high level that they basically get into each other's lobbies all the time, you know?
Yeah.
But that I knew that wasn't quite going to be the case with us. And I wanted for us to have a night where we could just like, you know, meet each other, have a good time and enjoy each other's company. And like right when I was like looking on Twitter, I saw the gaming merchant, they like posted a tweet saying, hey, like I'm gonna do like a little fashion show thing, like everybody either like be in like duos or like put your favorite skins on, have it match theme, gun skins, all of that stuff, like your banners, cool, and I'll like give away like a couple thousand like Apex coins or tokens. And I was like, I didn't think of that. Oh my goodness. So and I was like, well, how can I do that but actually make it feel like a runway show, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I had people just like, it was very last minute. So hopefully next time we do it, we can have more people in like a nice big fashion show. But I had them like walk down the waterfall, get to the center in Olympus, pose a little emo, do whatever they wanted to do and go back up.
That's so
but
dope.
Yeah, it was so much fun. But yeah, shout out to the gaming merchant for that idea because
shout out to gaming merchant.
I was like, you know, your mind. Look at that. Thank you.
With all of that, right? You talked about your passions in business and even with, you know, still have that remnants of STEM and engineering and of course beauty and gaming, esports, competitive nature. Outside of that, right? Like what else grounds you? Like what else are you in your passions about?
Well, I gotta think about that. I feel like that's pretty much it, to be honest. Like when it came to my passions when I was younger, right? Like outside of like beauty and gaming, I was a really big dancer for dance and theater and things like that. Like the arts really grounded me for a lot of my childhood years, if not for like pretty much all of them. And I know that that's where I found my love for entertainment.
Right.
And not so much like being the star of the show itself, but being able to like make people happy and to like make people laugh and like enjoy their own company, you know? Yes. And dance was a wonderful way for me to express myself. I love music. Music is just chef's kiss. Come on. Like I know that if I haven't listened to music at least like once in 1 week, like something's wrong. Like either I'm not doing too hot mentally or I'm sick or like something, you know?
Right.
Like music has been ingrained in my life. Like pretty much like every other day in this household, I'll wake up like music's just bumping. Got some house music. My dad has like the TV on with the house music, just it's all the way live.
I love that.
Or if he's like trying to fix some cars or stuff, he's listening to some rap music or some like some real old school stuff like A Tribe Called Quest. I'm like, yeah. It is. So I mean, when it comes to things like music, I danced. I also at one point in time, former me from a couple of years ago. Another fun fact: I used to be a DJ. So.
Oh snap! Oh.
Yeah. My turntables are like in the closet over there. But yeah, I like came from like a little like a mini family of DJs. My dad was a DJ and all this stuff, and he realized that I was really passionate about it. And so for Christmas, like 1 year in middle school, he gave me like a set of electronic turntables I could hook up the iPad to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did some events and stuff. The last time I DJ'd was 2 years ago for an event. It was stressful. And I was like, yeah, I'm throwing in the towel. I can't do this anymore. I was like, y'all got me all the way messed up. I am stressed. Jesus. but like, you know, like things like that in terms of different passions. Yeah. But outside of that, beauty and gaming is my priority right now.
There it is. That's dope. Okay. That's sick. That's
Yeah.
actually cool as fuck. Um, wow, that's a good tidbit. That's a good tidbit.
Yup.
Um, wow. So I know we're nearing the end here, so I want to
hmm
ask probably like a two-parter.
Okay.
Um, with with just your evolution as a person, content creator, everything. One, how do you, especially also being a college student, which is almost a full-time job in itself,
Yeah, right.
um,
Right.
how do you not only balance that? That's kind of the first part. Yeah. But my second part is, where do you see yourself, like, where do you see yourself growing in these spaces as well? So keeping that balance, but also evolving in these different spaces while kind of keeping them all interwebbed.
Funny. I think that for me, one of the biggest things that I learned in college, I learned like a bunch of things in college, but a lot of the major points were A, value yourself,
That's a fact.
and your mental health, and don't let anybody stress you out. I'm
That's a
sorry, don't do
fact.
it. Please don't do it.
That's
It,
a
it,
fact.
it is quite literally not worth your time.
That's a fact. That's a
And
fact.
like now that I'm a senior and I realize that because I've gone through so many like different dynamics and relationships with people, and like not even just like people my age, people older than me, people younger than me, like
Right.
authority figures and things like that. Just like don't let them stress you out. And it's obviously easier said than done, but always keep that in mind because it is not worth the pain in the future. It really isn't. It really is not.
That's a fact.
In terms of like staying on task and like keeping a schedule, I learned that lesson every year. I learn it every single year. I'm like, okay, school year is gonna start. I have my calendar put together. Yeah, I'm on task. I have like 5 alarms. I'm gonna wake up early.
Not
October come
one
around.
page
I'm
hits
like
you.
crawling out the bed. It's like 11 a.m. Like, oh, I miss class. Like, you know, I just like it's tough, but I will say that I feel the more organized in terms of what I want to prioritize now than I have in previous years. Because, you know, when you have a lot of interests, you always want to spend time doing all of those things that you're interested in, but 24 hours ain't enough time in the day.
Ooh, it ain't. It's really
you gotta
not.
you gotta wake up, get dressed, eat, go to class, go to your extracurriculars and do your homework, and then like hopefully have enough time to do like your extracurriculars
Right.
outside of your extracurriculars.
Right.
And then hopefully get enough rest. You can do it all again the next day. But you know, it's tough. And for me, I learned that this year I am prioritizing no more than 3 big things,
Ooh.
including school. So like outside of like classes and stuff, I have a job in esports right now, which is really cool. I've had that job for about almost on a year, pretty much. Yeah. And I just changed my job position like last week, so now I'm gonna be like the head of outreach and things. So I'm excited for that. So I have to focus on that, school, and then also I'm a part of sorority life. So yeah.
Ooh, oh my God! So you do a job?
Yeah, I do a lot. I do a lot.
Sorority and content. And you talking about creating a show?
I know, right? And like I have to I know that especially from last year with the pandemic being the way that it was.
Right.
The whole Panini press.
Yeah.
That was
Prius
tough.
Is out of control.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. And I just had to like I had a very alarming wake-up call when it came to that, because a lot of people, everybody was confused as to how to manage their time. because of how much everything changed.
Right.
And like going from working on like a pretty comfortable schedule from like being at home or being in one place for a very long period of time. And for a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, I mean, since you're free now, since you're at home, I'll have more work to give you. It's like, yeah, no, it's not how that works. I promise you. Like, just because my travel time cut off an extra 20 minutes doesn't mean you get to give me another 2 hours of work. That's not how that works. So that was really, really tough. And trying to balance that was really, really hard. Right. But now this is, I guess, take 2 of the panini.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit more prepared in terms of what I have to let go if I need to. This is a little bit, I guess, of a finale for my constant content creation, because I know that when school starts, like I just gotta focus. Yeah. Your girl's gotta graduate.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So I'll still be like streaming and like posting makeup content, but I need to make sure that at its heart, like I went to college to get an education, and I went to college to get a degree. All this other stuff, as wonderful as it is, it's an accessory to what I entered for. Right.
That's a fact.
So I just need to make sure that I focus on that, because your girl's trying to get another job.
That's a fact. Okay. Talk about
it. And in terms of like being able to mend those things together, can't quite say right now, but I have a couple of opportunities coming up really, really soon that I've been so excited and just grateful and thankful, all the good things for it. But I think there will be a couple of ways for me to keep that stuff going,
Okay. And you know we're gonna be tuned in. You know we're gonna be tuned in. We're gonna be tuned in.
Thank you.
Support, of course. That's what community is here for. Like it literally is. Before we leave, last thing I have to say is you have made me waste a lot of time on YouTube. I've been watching that god dang murder makeup series like it's no tomorrow. Like I'm learning shit. I'm like, what? It got to the point where I'm listening. I'm like, man, I think she did like a Jeffrey Dahmer series or one of them or something like that. And I'm like, I was watching the Toy Box Killer.
Oh, gosh.
I was watching the Toy Box one. And it caught me, right? Where I was like, man, that toy box is messed up. Oh, she shouldn't use that blush. The toy box. I was like, wait a minute.
Love that. Oh my gosh. I love that. Oh my goodness. Shout out to the one and only Bailey Sarian.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
Carried me through quarantine. I'm telling you. I love like shows like Criminal Minds and all of that.
Oh,
and so,
man.
and like the fact that like she was able to just, again, she took a risk a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And she was like, all right, let me just like do all the research that I can on these crime stories and like murder mysteries and stuff like that, and let's just like talk about it while I do my makeup. And it's not that she makes her makeup the focus of the video anyway, because she says in the beginning, like, if y'all want all the details, y'all better look in the description, because we're not gonna be like, oh yes, I'm like a blush on from this company and I'm using this brush right now. By the way, did you know person was like found in a dumpster? Like, she's not gonna say something like crazy like that, like it's just, that's not what she's gonna do. She's going to quite literally tell you the story like, we're talking over brunch, and she's gonna do her makeup. And not only is it's like therapeutic to me, because I'm like, makeup is a lot of bit of like therapy, because like when I start with makeup, I get in the zone and I enjoy it. She does the same thing. And also just like mending that with crime stories and things like that, which a lot of times are, oh my goodness, they're a lot. It's still balance. Like, yes, it is. It's a really good balance. So shout outs to her. I'm glad you enjoy it though.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And her new podcast. So yeah.
Okay, you're gonna have to tell me that one. You got the message.
Yeah, I think if you check her YouTube page, it's like the name of it is losing me, but she posts videos of it. I think like either every Sunday or every Tuesday.
Okay.
And so it's like right around the murder mystery makeup time, and she'll talk about other things that aren't like murder or mystery or things like that. And it's like, intriguing though. So yeah,
I'm with it. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for joining. Thank you for accompanying me on this episode.
Of course.
I'm just gonna wrap up the episode. I'll let you say last words right after if you like. But cool. Everyone, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Per-Sception with We Make Up Steam. Of course, everything about her will be in the description below. Love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to the Renaissance. I will catch y'all next time. We make up. What you got? Take us out.
If you guys would like to follow me on my wondrous journey of beauty and gaming, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and that's pretty much all that I have. Love yourselves, appreciate others, treat others how they want to be treated.
That's a fact.
And be good people,
There it is.
Stay beautiful. Stay
beautiful. Stay beautiful and stay competitive.
Yeah, that too.
There it is. I'm in the recording now.